Welcome to Fabulous Feast. I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio. Fabulous Feast is all about empowerment. It's about empowering you to make better food choices. That's right, what you eat is directly related to the quality of your life and your health. It all goes back to what Hippocrates said, let medicine be thy food and let food be thy medicine. And well, frankly, that's what Fabulous Feast is all about. Choosing foods that are nutrient dense, that are anti-inflammatory, because inflammation drives disease. So if you're in an anti-inflammatory foods, you're going to have less inflammation, less itises, less otises. Those are inflammations. So that's what Fabulous Feast is all about, and I really appreciate you tuning in. Today's show, it's been inspired by my family. When they come over for the holidays, for special events, it's all about, well, I don't eat, well, I'd prefer, well, are you going to make this? So we are going to make cauliflower steaks with vegetables and protein. However, you can put it together however you want. If you want just vegetarian, you can do just vegetarian. If you want to go carnivore, you can go carnivore with some veggies. So we're going to have some fun today. We're going to show you how you can pair some chicken, in this case, with cauliflower steaks and sauteed vegetables. And of course, we're going to top it off with our traditional salad with a minimum of 3 colors. So that's what the show is going to be all about. The cauliflower steaks are that. They're steaks made out of cauliflower. They take a little bit of time, so they're actually in the oven. We're going to pull them out, put the marinade on the other side as we flip them over, and then we're going to put them back in, so by the time the veggies are ready and the chicken's ready, if you want chicken, but everybody's got to have veggies, it'll all be ready together. So the cauliflower steaks are really simple to prepare. You take a head of cauliflower and you cut it lengthwise so it comes out in what we call steaks. You want to have the slices about 3/4 of an inch thick. Now this is hot, so I'm just going to flip them. And you see how this one fell apart? I'll tell you why that one fell apart. This one's staying together. When you make your cauliflower steaks, you have to be aware of where the stem is. I wasn't paying as much attention on this one, and I cut the stem. It's all in here. There's no stem in here to hold it together. This is an end piece, but I caught the stem. So you just have to be a little attentive that you catch the stem, that center stem. Well, that was my fault. That was operational error. To help them stay as a steak. But you know something? There's nothing wrong when they are like florets like this, okay? But that's why they turn into florets. The marinade is olive oil, lemon. It's that time of year, so I was able to get some fresh thyme. And we're using fresh thyme because it's going to pair nicely with the vegetables and the chicken that we're using. Because it's that time of year, the fresh herbs are in. And if you can get fresh herbs, do it. I don't have a large herb garden. In fact, I have one of those herb boxes on my porch. So it's not a big garden, but boy, the fresh herbs make a difference. And this time of year, as the herbs grow, I trim them and dry them. I trim them and dry them, and then I keep them sealed as dried herbs. And I tell you, they just taste so much better than the ones you buy in the store. Just so much better. So those got their marinade on the other side. They're in the oven at 400 degrees. Well, it takes about a half hour. They've been in about 15, 20 minutes. And by the time they're done on the other side, they'll be ready to have some beautiful sauteed vegetables with them. And that's what we're going to start with next. Real simple, but you know, it is all about color. It is all about embracing all the different colors of the rainbow in your diet, because different colored foods have different nutrient profiles. You know, it's estimated that 80% of Americans don't get enough vegetables in their diet. Don't let it be you. Why are vegetables important? They're high in minerals. They're high in antioxidants. Antioxidants neutralize all the chemicals and metabolic waste products that we're exposed to just in everyday life. So we want to neutralize all of that, and that's what antioxidants do, and they prepare your body for healing and for recovery. They're huge. So vegetables are going to get that. And when I say vegetables, it doesn't mean just the sprinkle of iceberg lettuce, which has zero nutritional value, that's on your sandwich that you buy at lunchtime. So yeah, we're making cauliflower. We're going to put on top of that asparagus, red peppers, green peppers. Now, mushrooms, huge nutrient dense vegetable. And they give you some satiety. So for our vegetarians or people that don't want to add flesh to this meal, okay, mushrooms really will fill you up. And they give you that sense of fullness and the texture that meat can do that. Some yellow carrots, some onions, just lots of color because I want lots of nutrition. The other thing we have to be concerned about is where your food's sourced. All right, I had that discussion with a patient really just yesterday. It's about the sourcing of your food. Organic versus conventional. Where is it raised? How much preservatives? Nightshades. I'm sorry, not nightshades. How much preservatives? How much chemicals? Is it farm to table? Very difficult to get farm to table in the United States. So olive oil, hot pan. A little bit of garlic. I'm leaving it relatively in large chunks because that way people who want to avoid eating it can avoid eating it, but we'll still get the flavor. Onions going first. And I'm just going to add a pinch of salt to help bring out some of the flavor. Saute your onions, sweat them down first when you're cooking other vegetables, because when the oils come out in the onions and then you add your other vegetables, it helps the flavors marry much better. So there's something about sauteing the onions first and adding the other vegetables towards that. You want it on a relatively high heat. So this dish right now is going to start out as all vegetarian. All right, so it's going to be really beneficial for the people that want to avoid flesh, meat. But my question, regardless of what foods you're choosing to eat, is why? What are your health goals? Because let medicine be thy food and let food be thy medicine, right? That's what we're all about. So what are your health goals? Are your health goals to drop your cholesterol level? Are your health goals to build muscle mass? Are your health goals to drop weight? Are your health goals to reduce your inflammatory cytokines, reduce chronic low-grade inflammation that leads to high blood pressure, that leads to diabetic changes, that leads to atherosclerosis, that leads to Alzheimer's? Yeah, chronic low-grade inflammation leads to all those diseases. So are those your health goals? So that's where it starts, because we all have to eat. You all have to eat. So before you decide, this is how I'm going to eat, take a few minutes, reflect, think about it, pray about it. What are my goals? Then make it simple. Don't overthink it. Once you know what your goals are, then it becomes pretty easy to set a dietary lifestyle that's consistent with your goals. And then you can move forward. So starting off, this is going to cook a little bit. I'm going to add a tad more heat. There we go. And then as the onions sweat down a little bit, we're going to add the peppers. And then we're going to add the carrots. And these are rainbow carrots that aren't rainbow, but in the container where the rainbow carrots come, they have the purple ones, the blonde ones, and the traditional orange carrots. And they all have slightly different, not only flavor, but nutrient profiles. So, a nice way to get different antioxidants, different nutrient in there. We know carrots are high in lycopene, they're high in carotenoids, and when they're hybridized, I guess, to make them, different colors, you get different nutrient profile. I'm going to add a touch more salt. So for my patients that do want to be vegetarian, and it's a good choice if you want to drop your cholesterol, it's a good choice if you want to drop some weight, I really make sure they get enough protein. And it can be plant-based protein, but you got to make sure you're getting enough protein. Pumpkin seed protein, hemp seed protein, rice protein, pea protein, all really good proteins from plants. All right, lentils, good source of proteins. All right, a lot of fiber, low glycemic index, not a real high glycemic index. So lentils are your best bean. Your other beans, your navy beans and your darker beans are also lower in glycemic index, but a pretty good source of protein. Not complete proteins, but a good source of protein. However, you got to make sure you're getting enough. How do you know if you're getting enough? Well, get an app, a simple app, and plug in everything that you eat for a week. And don't go crazy about it. I mean, this is 1 green pepper, 1 bell pepper, 1 medium onion so far. I didn't measure it by the ounce, just medium, large. And at the end of the week, look at your grams of protein, look at your grams of carbohydrate, look at your grams of fat. Those are your macronutrients. Once you look at your macros, then you know if you're getting enough protein. For the average person, how much protein do they need? If you're not exercising heavy and trying to build muscle mass, you need about 1 gram of protein for half your body weight, all right? So if I weigh 150 pounds, I need approximately 75 grams of protein a day. I had a patient yesterday. We brought up this conversation. That was their first visit. That might be their problem. I think they needed more protein in their diet. And their response was, oh, I'm a poor absorber. I have XYZ wrong with my stomach, and I just don't absorb nutrients well. And I said, well, in that case, we got to not only get you a bioavailable protein, something that's easily digested and absorbed, you got to take more. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you may need 100 grams of protein. So that's a conversation you have with us. If you're a patient, that's a conversation you have with your medical doc or your family doctor if you're not a patient, because that is important information. Peppers are going, looking pretty good. Going to add my carrots because I wanted a little bit of sweetness. Start those, then we'll add the mushrooms. And we're going to finish it off with some flavoring, a little Worcestershire sauce. And it'll go nicely with our chicken, which we're going to start in a moment. But I want to get these cooking down a little bit. But speaking of protein, you can get it lots of places. You can get plant-based protein lots of places. I like to incorporate protein bursts throughout the day, because if you keep your if you keep your blood sugar level, and proteins and fats will do that, they'll keep your blood sugar level. You don't get those crashes of energy. So I like to have little protein bursts throughout the day. And one of the ways I do that is in my coffee. So, people who see some of my other shows know that for a midday boost, I'll take a greens drink. I use the standard processed power greens, and it's just, that's what it is. It's power greens. It's greens and vegetables dried, dehydrated, and it gives me a real nutrient boost of all these things. But sometimes I do enjoy a good cup of coffee. So at home, I use a French press. So I'll make a cup of coffee. And if you look, coffee, there's nothing wrong with coffee itself. However, you do want to look at where it's sourced. Coffee has a tendency to be treated and processed with a lot of chemicals. So be careful with that, all right? So you got to look at where your coffees are sourced. You want to get one that's naturally processed. So in here, I don't have cream. I have my standard process vanilla protein right there. So I got my protein in here, and I'm getting 7 grams of protein with my coffee. And it's on the vanilla side. Sometimes I use the chocolate protein and I get a mocha. All right? So there's nothing wrong with the coffee, but now I'm getting a nice protein burst. Plant-based protein helps sustain me through the day. I'm not adding any sugars in here or sweeteners. It's not a coffee beverage. It's actually protein with a little bit of coffee. Tastes great. And again, you can do it that way, or you can do it with chocolate if you're a mocha person. So I think it's good timing to check on the cauliflower sticks. Oh man, they smell great. They need a little bit more. You want them to be a little bit more golden, all right? So I'm gonna give them a little bit more. But guess what? If you're one of those people that likes their veggies al dente, you can leave it al dente. It doesn't have to be cooked through, really mushy. There we go. Gonna light this fire, get this fire started for our people that want traditional vegetables with chicken. We're gonna add our mushrooms and asparagus. Now if you notice, or maybe you didn't, and what I'll tell you is I really took an effort to cut all the vegetables at approximately the same size, all right? Other than the onions, all right? Now this is getting a little dry, so I'm gonna add some salt, because that'll bring out the water in the mushrooms. Cover it, bring it down a little bit in heat. Good. Bring it down a little bit in heat. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. That'll give it a little bit of sweetness, and the veggies will start throwing off some nice fluid. Keep it in there, and that's going to be the sauce. While that's finishing up, a little bit lower. There we go. Nice. Not quite warm enough over here. We'll add some olive oil to this pan, just a touch, because I'm using chicken breasts. You can use whatever cut of chicken you want. Chicken thighs are gonna have a little more fat in them, and chicken wings will have even more fat. And wings are about 50% fat to lean protein, but it's only about 20% with a breast. Again, fresh herbs are out. So I got fresh oregano, which will go nicely with the thyme on the steaks, and a little salt, pepper, and rice wine vinegar. Let's get the oil. And since it's a lean cut of meat, that's why there's just a touch of oil in the pan. Oh, nice and warm, starting to shimmer. Good hot pan. Put those guys in there. And the other great way of doing the dish this way is everybody's happy. If somebody just wants chicken and vegetables, I'm gonna mix them together at the end, because that's what I'm gonna have. If somebody just wants vegetables, okay, you can just have vegetables. Oh, by the way, there is no meat-only option. No meat-only option. Why? You need to eat your vegetables. Your mother was right. 5 to 7 servings of vegetables a day. Yeah, 5 to 7 servings of vegetables a day. So this has got to sweat down a little bit more, but that's great. Look at all that color. And the bottom of the pan's got a little bit of what's called fond on it. It's getting a little crust down there. The Worcestershire sauce is going to help bring that out. And oh, it's going to be nice. Hot pan, sear it on both sides. Those will be done. And I have an extra piece of chicken. We'll just save that for later. So, if you are going to have flesh, it's no different than your protein powder. Hey, the standard processed protein powder in here is pumpkin and flax and rice, but it's organic. I know where it came from, a farm in Wisconsin. I don't have to worry about it. Where did the meat come from? Was it organic? Was it conventional? Are there hormones? Are there pesticides? You notice how big everything's getting? All, not just the meat sizes and the cuts of meat, but of the vegetables too. That's because of pesticides and hormones and hybridization, manipulating the genetics of our food. So it's big. I'm not sure that's so good. That's where organic, it's a little smaller, the servings, the vegetables, the meat are going to be a little bit smaller in size, but you're not getting all the chemicals. You would think I've been drinking coffee all day. I'm getting pretty fired up. But I do enjoy a good cup of coffee, and I'm concerned about where it comes from, so I'm really fastidious about that. There are certain companies that pride themselves on checking for pesticides and hormones, and those are the ones, pesticides and chemicals, not hormones, and those are the ones that I use. Let's get these almost ready to be flipped, not quite. Nice high pan. Those steaks of cauliflower are definitely ready. I'm going to take them out. Let's put this off to the side, and then we can start getting ready to plate. So you got to think about where you're getting your food from. And if you are going to take nutritional supplements, where does they come from? You need to use a reputable company. You know, only 25% of people talk to their doctors about their nutritional supplements that they're taking. Most people take supplements, and frankly, you need to take supplements. Why? Because unless you're eating organic food where you know where it's sourced, the nutrient value is just not there today. It just isn't there. And you may have certain health conditions where you want to almost use supplements to help your body fight off or restore its health. See, by covering it with the Worcestershire sauce, adding a little salt when you add the mushrooms, and we're starting to get a nice glaze on these veggies. And this is a meal all by itself. The veggies are fine, but I'm an omnivore. I like having my protein. So that's why I'm going to have a piece of protein with mine. Just get a nice sear on it. Flip these guys over. This one's not ready to be flipped yet. How do I know it's not ready to be flipped yet? Because it hasn't cooked through enough. This breast, this fillet, I really didn't trim it evenly, so it's going to take a little more time on that side. So yeah, as I was saying, whether it's your supplements or whether it's your coffee, you want to know where things are sourced. So we're going to start thinking about plating. Here's your first, isn't that beautiful? Cauliflower steak. All right, and look, you want to eat this whole head of cauliflower? Go ahead. How many calories in here? There's some olive oil, but not a lot of calories. Let me put that behind me. How are these guys looking? Good. Just got to let it cook. Sometimes you can't rush it. We're going to pair this, as always, with a salad. This happens to be romaine lettuce with beet greens. The beets are here. We roasted them, just roasted, 400 degrees for 40 minutes. And I took the greens and I chopped them up with my romaine lettuce. All right? Sometimes I saute them and cook them. All right? But that is nothing wrong with that. And if you notice, it adds another layer of color. Are beet greens as sweet as romaine lettuce? No. But neither is something like chicory or dandelion. But that's okay. Bitter things not only stimulate digestion, bitter things also remove you for your craving for sweets. So if you're able to embrace bitter foods, foods that have a little bit of bite to them, instead of reaching for the sweet thing all the time, that's how you break that sweet tooth. Because when you have a sweet tooth and you get spikes in blood sugar, that's when your blood sugar goes up. That's what drives inflammation. Ah, that's the way it's supposed to be. Nice. Look at those. That's perfect. Good. All right. Let's get ready to have some fun here. Oh, there's only really 2 colors in here. Red, green. The white of the romaine doesn't count as a third. I'm going to just go with some basic. Shredded carrots, 3 colors. If it doesn't have 3 colors, it's not a salad in my house. Let me put this over here. So, for our vegetarians, it is as simple as a cauliflower steak. Man. And the Worcestershire sauce gives it a nice little sweetness. Really beautiful. Look at that. Oh. Whoop. One got away. And goes right over the top. Now, if you want to make more of a sauce, an au jus, all you need to do is add some vegetable stock to this. So, like I have vegetable stock here, I make my own vegetable stock. So you can just add some vegetable stock right in through here if you want to make an au jus. All right? So that's that. That's for our vegetarians. However, I'm a carnivore. So for us carnivores, we're going to go piece of chicken with our sauteed vegetables right with it. Now, I'm a carnivore, but guess what? 5 to 7 servings of vegetables a day. So it's a little piece of meat about the size of my fist. That's how much I need. I had a little protein boost from my coffee, so that gives me another 7 grams a day, plus my vegetables here. And of course, paired with my 3-color salad. So, there you have it. Your way. You can have it your way. Vegetarian, carnivore, omnivore. It's all tied together. Remember, you are what you eat. Make healthy food choices. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio. We'll see you on the next show. If you have any comments, just shoot me an email. Put them down below.